The first scream was swallowed by the waves before anyone realized it came from a human throat. By the time the sun dipped lower and painted the water red, the beach had already chosen who would leave and who would stay forever. Came to Blackwater Beach to forget. Forget the city noise. Forget the nightmares. Forget the way my life felt hollow after my brother drowned 3 years ago. This place was quiet. Too quiet. The sand stretched endlessly, pale and smooth like untouched skin. The ocean lay calm, breathing slowly as if pretending to sleep. Locals warned me not to stay after sunset. They said the beach remembered people. I laughed then. Now I wish I had listened. The first night was uneasy but peaceful. Wind whispered through the dunes. The tide rolled in and out with perfect rhythm. Slept in a small rented beach house with windows facing the water. At exactly 2 in the morning, I woke to the sound of footsteps outside. Slow, wet, careful. I held my breath and listened. The footsteps stopped beneath my window. Something dragged across the sand, leaving a long, rough sound that scraped against my skull. When I forced myself to look, the beach was empty. No footprints, no marks, just smooth sand again, like nothing had ever touched it. The second day, I noticed things were wrong. The tide line had moved closer to the house. Seaweed lay arranged in strange looping shapes. Dead fish stared at me with cloudy eyes, their mouths frozen open as if screaming. I met a fisherman named Elias near the shore. His face was pale and deeply lined. "You should leave before tonight," he said quietly. When I asked why, his eyes flicked to the water. "Because the beach is hungry." That night, the screams returned. They came from the ocean. Not loud, not frantic, slow and rhythmic, rising and falling with the waves. Each scream ended in a wet, choking sound. My skin prickled. The air smelled of rot and salt. I stepped outside without knowing why. The sand felt warm beneath my feet, almost pulsing. Far out near the tide line, shapes moved in the water. Human shapes, standing too still, watching. One of them lifted its head. It had my brother's face. I ran back inside and locked the door. The walls began to creak, not from wind, from pressure. Something pushed from beneath the house, shifting the foundation. Wet fingers slid under the door, leaving trails of black water that smelled like decay. I screamed until my throat burned. Morning came suddenly, too suddenly. The house stood normal again, dry, silent. No marks on the floor, no smell. I told myself it was a dream. Then I found sand in my bed. The third night, the beach came closer. The ocean swallowed half the shore before sunset. Its waves slammed violently against the dunes. The wind carried whispers that spoke my name. When darkness fell, the moon reflected on the water like a broken eye. I heard knocking beneath the house, not on the door. Below, from under the sand, voices rose together, dozens of them, murmuring memories, laughter, crying, pleading. They told stories of picnics and swimming, and lovers who never made it back to shore. The sand outside began to move. Hands pushed through, arms followed. Bodies crawled free, dripping with black water and seaweed hair. Their eyes glowed faintly blue, their mouths stretched too wide. They walked toward my house. I barricaded myself in the bathroom, shaking so hard my teeth clattered. The knocking grew louder. The walls bled seawater. The mirror fogged, then cleared. My reflection smiled back at me. But I was not smiling. Behind the reflection stood the beach, stretching endlessly. Hands reached from the sand, gripping my ankles. In the mirror, I saw myself being pulled backward, sinking waist deep into wet darkness. I felt it then. The sand beneath the house was soft, giving way. The floor collapsed. I fell into cold water, filled with bodies. Tees, they wrapped around me, gentle but unyielding. Faces pressed close. familiar faces, strangers. My brother held me tight. "You stayed too long," he whispered. The beach does not forget. I woke up on the shore at sunrise. People gathered around me, whispering. Someone wrapped a blanket around my shoulders. An officer asked my name. I answered without thinking. He frowned. "That name is on our missing persons list. Reported drowned 3 years ago." I looked down at my hands. They were covered in sand that would not wash away. High in the crowd, the ocean rippled softly. For a moment, I saw myself standing in the water, watching the shore, waiting. Blackwater Beach breathed in, and it was still hungry. If you enjoyed this story, then please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.